Hello world and happy pride. For those who don't know, I'm here and I'm queer. I am also trans masculine and non-binary, but you can simply call me Sasha. Pronouns are he, him and they, them. So pride for me is a season of remembrance, when we can all be reminded of where we come from, where we are going, who stood there before and who still stand with us here today. So to celebrate me and a few other queer doll artists have put together a collab that I hope you will all enjoy. So after you're done watching my video, and maybe leaving a like if you may, please go watch the videos by Steffu Doll, Electric Bunny and Boho Punks. Links to their channel in the description below. So as I customize this lovely J3 Toralei Monster High doll, which I think I got from Electric Bunny a year ago, so into a lovely Femboy Catboy, I thought I would talk about queer facts that maybe you don't know about. So if you have any questions about how I do things when I customize dolls, please leave them in the comments. I usually answer. As for the material list, it's in the description box as usual. So let's go! First off, let's just get the most obvious fact out of the way. Pride started originally as a riot against police brutality on June 28, 1969 in New York, United States. It's also known as Stonewall, and it was fronted by drag queens, trans folks, and people of color, mainly one of them being the famous Marsha P. Johnson, a black trans woman. However, you might not know, especially if you're an American, that June isn't the official Pride Month actually everywhere. Other countries celebrate it differently. I'm Canadian, and here, Pride is the whole summer season actually, but my city will celebrate most of it in August. So as of 2025 right now, it seems that only 38 countries have legalized gay marriage, and as you may know, trans rights are currently under attack just about anywhere. And a lot of folks seems to think that being transgender is new, that it is a new trend, or more aptly put, a new thing, a new phenomena. But it is not. According to Wikipedia, the first evidence of trans people date from at least the Neolithic and the Bronze Age era, around 7,000 to 4,500 years ago, so it's not that recent. Many indigenous cultures around the world have always celebrated other genders as well, so like the Native Americans having two-spirit people. Of course, it's much more complex and detailed than this, but this is but a short video, so yeah, please feel free to research more on your own. Also, I wanted to say that some people seem to also confuse the third gender, or in more modern language, the non-binary umbrella, with intersex people. Intersex folks are people born with any combination of reproductive organs in their body, and they're often seen as, in quotes, having both male and female anatomy, end quotes. It's still a subject that is very taboo and rarely talked about to this day, and, well, doctors are known to perform with or without the consent of the parents of the infant, well, surgery on those children to assign them a gender, stating that it is for their best so they don't feel left out, so they have some sort of attachment, a label to grab onto. But well, good intentions are in everything, and many intersex folks and activists are currently fighting against it, mainly in hope that these children can be left to grow to be able to make the choice themselves at a later date about their own bodies. And yes, intersex folks are included in the broader acronym of LGBTQIA+. They are in the queer community. The I in the acronym actually stands for intersex, and the A, you might not know, it is not for ally, but it stands for asexual or aromantic, folks that are on a spectrum inside the spectrum. Because yes, not everyone feel romantic attraction or sexual attraction, and this is just as valid. But to come back to intersex folks one last time, it is very ironic to me when you consider that a lot of people who oppose trans rights are citing surgeries being performed on minors, when in factuality, it is not usually done. Most of the time, the only thing a trans youth will receive from a doctor are puberty blockers that will prevent them from going through a very traumatic puberty. Note that puberty blockers are also given to cisgender youths for other medical reasons. All of this looks like it's much more envy and complex than it really is, but you really need to take time to look into things. Also, another fact, cisgender is not a slur. It just means the opposite of transgender, so if you're not transgender, you are cisgender. And what is transgender? It's not being the gender that you were assigned at birth. That's simple, it's just that. And well, it does imply that the whole non-binary umbrella falls under the trans label, but some people do not wear the label for different reasons, and that is also valid. Again, I highly encourage you all to research all of this. And I would not know all the nuances and how things are in different countries, in different cultures, so I'm just speaking at large here using the knowledge that I have. Another thing about trans rights, there are about 40 countries that are doing legislative efforts for the recognition of gender identity, and this is according to Wikipedia. And there are 4 countries that are doing efforts against, and that includes Russia and the USA. We are living in a sometimes beautiful, sometimes scary world. Oh, another fun fact. Did you know that it was perfectly valid and okay and normal to explore your gender identity, like some folks go around exploring about love and attraction and still end up being cisgender? I personally think it should be something that most see as an option, that they are free to try exploring or not, depending on their will. The end result will either help them learn something new or just reaffirm something that they already knew, so I don't see any harm doing that. It should not be taboo or seen as something shameful. And that reminds me, that seems to be some kind of war sometimes online between trans folks who are non-binary, as an umbrella, and those who are binary, so either male or female fully. While there's a lot of valid grievances and arguments on all the sides of this conversation, and also a lot of suffering that is very valid, I think we all need to remember that what Pride stands for is love, acceptance, and the right for all to be authentic, their authentic self, I mean. The binary is not an enemy. The people who are fully male or female are not enemies. I think what hurts us more, in my opinion, it's how we view gender, as in gender expression, gender expectations, and also gender roles. Well, you know what I mean. I mean, gatekeeping gender, conditional acceptance, let it be about surgeries, appearances, etc. And I get that it's highly complex and nuanced. Trust me on that. I get that I'm oversimplifying again. And it's a conversation that we could go in and deep, very, very deep. I just think that we need to keep things in mind is all. Talking about my own experiences, many a times have I joined a trans support group online and seen posts deeming men at large as the enemy. It's important to understand where that comes from, as many folks, including the very vulnerable trans women, have traumatic experiences with toxic behaviors related to masculinity. This is very valid and I don't want to erase that. I just want to remind folks to not forget that some men are also part of the queer community, and that trans masculine folks sometimes are forgotten about and not given a voice. Hopefully you hear that and it gives you food for thoughts. Also, I don't think I need to say that trans women who are lesbians, and that trans men who are gay are gay. And might I say another controversial thing, that bisexual people in straight or gay relationships are still bisexual? People don't need to pick a line to make things more presentable. Talking about things that makes people uncomfortable, drag queens. According to my research, the term drag can be found as far back as Elizabethan era England. And well, it's not as old as transgender people, but it's still an art with a rich and long history. And as I told my father, who is in his venerable 50s, drag is so much more than just a bunch of dudes dressing up as a caricature of womanhood for laughs. I'm pretty sure that as of now, most people have heard about Drag Race. And yeah, well, I'm a fan of it, yes. And by the way, currently rooting for Aja. And well, it's pretty much well known by now that drag encompasses comedy, gender expression, art, creativity, and fashion, among other things. And it's only into that in the show that there's also so much more diversity in drag that it looks like only on the outside. And I don't mean like just men as queens and women as kings, and well, there's also trans folks doing drag and it doesn't invalidate their gender identity, just saying. I mean many types of ways to show art and perform, more alternative styles, unique craftsmanship, different messages, and sometimes with a lot of culture injected into it. Sometimes, yes, it showcases more adult humor or sexier content, hence why it is kind of controversial now, and I think that it stems from the fact that drag has been for a long time associated with the secretive nightlife of queer folks, because it was not allowed to flourish in the open. And it also stems, I think, from the fact that it doesn't seem to respect the expectations that we have for gender performance, so there's an overlap here with transgender people. But we have to remember that drag is a form of performance art, and of course, being a drag artist and being transgender are not synonymous, but some people are both. That happens. The message here is more about respect, and it's great that more and more people understand, but respect always comes first. Just like respect can come from understanding our history. I didn't talk about the AIDS epidemic, but it happened. There's also other subjects like the inclusion of voguing and ballroom dancing to mainstream queer culture, and of course what we see as English, gay slang in quotation marks, being actually African American Vernacular English, or AAVE. And I'm running out of time, but I said that I was going to read facts, but I think that my video is more like a tiny collection of thoughts of things that are important to use my tiny platform to get out there. Well, that I wanted to get out there using my tiny platforms, if I can. I am bad with words, but this isn't a research essay, and I'm not pretending that it is. It's just some queer femboy talking about queer things. Also, yes, about that doll, yes, it's a boy. And I don't see it as me making a transgender doll. I just love using female dolls to make boys because the proportions are aesthetically pleasing to me. It's not my first time doing it either, but of course, you can be trans if you want to, or not. I'm not gonna choose, it's irrelevant to the creation. Also, since the deeper skin tone of Toralei made me think of maybe someone that was biracial or Hispanic, I decided that I was gonna name him Alejandro. And the coily hair that he has is meant to be more of a natural texture. I did not intentionally reference the Lady Gaga song though, just getting that out there. Also, why did I make him a catboy? Did I have a deeper reason? Well, nope. Just made him something cute because I felt like it, with a brickful purse of course. And that's it. That's the video. Be proud folks, but most of all please, stay safe. And don't forget to check out Stefu Doll, Electric Bunny, and Boho Punks. Thank you! See you next time.